Yo, what's up, man? You know what it is. It's your homeboy DJ Don Juan back in the building again. This is Hip Hop 24, and today we are not gonna disappoint, man. We got another great artist that you guys need to be up on. I mean, that's our goal here, is to help you stay in tune with what's hot, what's new, what's relevant, and what you need to know. So at this time, without all the chitter chat, everyone help me welcome to the show the homeboy Cellus Hamilton. Everybody, Cellus, what's up, brother? How you doing, man?
DJ Don Juan, what's going on, man? I'm feeling good, dude.
Nice, man. I'm glad you're feeling good, man, because we need more of that positive high vibration out here right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially in this craft right here. You know, the people who connected to me, they know I'm a higher spiritual consciousness brother. You know what I'm saying? I bring a high vibration with me everywhere I go, into every place. I bring that code of what I call the true light, man. And I've noticed this already in your work. Now, I know that people don't know what you're up to, so we're going to take them through this light and through all this that you got going on. So the first thing I want you to do, just as typical, normal interview, give them a little rundown, who you are, you know what I'm saying, where you're from, and what the whole purpose is. What's going on with you in your career?
For sure, man. Yeah, so my name is Cellus Hamilton, hip hop artist, originally from Atlanta, living in New York City now. I've been here for 5 years. Started off doing hip hop, man, 8 years old. I was a child artist, navigating the city because my mom actually was an artist back in the 80s doing her thing. And so being super inspired, seeing her write music in the crib, seeing her just so locked in with the music. And then one day got a chance to kind of hit the stage and found out all those same gifts were inside of me. And so she stopped her career to be able to fully support me. Her and my dad would take me around the city and take me to showcases and kind of like help me get my name out there and help me also learn how to navigate some of the things so I wouldn't have to make some of the same mistakes that my mom made early in her career when she had nobody supporting her. So yeah, man, been doing music since a young age here in New York City. And yeah, just all about kind of like reshaping people's perception about God and the way that people have been trained to think about gospel music, the Bible, and just all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, man, but still staying true to the roots. So that's what I'm on.
Man, that's interesting. I really didn't expect to hear that when I was sent. I didn't expect to read or hear that when I was sent your information, because most interviews, it's typically just someone it's the same story. It doesn't factor in what we call God, or what on my community I've intentionally called the Most High God, because I expose like other deities that are being called God, and like I like what you were saying. Maybe we won't take too much of the church route, and stuff today, but we can, because I want to focus more on your music. But wherever you want to talk about is great to let people into who you are, because I clearly tell artists all the time when they come to me for a consultation. I mean, I've been DJing 22 years. I've been in the music business 25 years. World tours, all this stuff I've been doing right in the game. And they come to me and be like, yo, Don, I got this song. I want to get it cracking. I'm like, okay, but what's your goal? What's your purpose for doing it? Right. If their answer involves cars, money, Grammy awards and stuff like that, then I have some harsh realities that I have to lay out for them about who controls that side of the business. But for those that say, I want to impact the community, I want to uplift the community, I want to change consciousness, I want to spread love, I want to, whatever it is, it's like it's coming from a different side of the brain, then we can talk. And it sounds like that's the side of the brain you're on. So I wanted to jump straight in because I know you were raised in the A and you're in New York right now. Just real brief, give me a quick feel on how New York is feeling to you right now, because there's a lot of weird energy going on everywhere right now. New York has not been like a pleasant place for people it's not like actually a destination. I know a lot of people are leaving New York. How's New York feeling right now, and how is that impacting you as an artist?
Man, that's an amazing question because it's so true. I feel like at the time when I came to New York in general, a lot of people thought I was crazy then, because Atlanta's been kind of popping in music for a number of years now, you know what I'm saying? So people was like, yo, what you doing? You going backwards? We trying to get down there. But at the same time, it's one of those things, like a prophet is not honored in his hometown. And so things that I have been doing since I was 8 years old, running around Atlanta, people always looked at me when I hit the stage and be like, oh, that's just the dude from down the street. You know what I'm saying? So Kind of branching out to a new city like New York. When I hit the stage and the announcers announced me, yo, we got Cellus Hamilton coming straight from the ATL, people's eyes light up because they like, okay, what's this energy? You know what I'm saying? Who was this? And so it gave me a new set of eyes on me. But at the same time, I feel like New York is in this weird place musically where they're still trying to figure out who they want to be right now on the music scene. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of artists that are from here sound like they're from somewhere else. They kind of like, whereas I think historically back in hip hop's roots, New York always kind of had a grip on being like, yo, we New York. And so me as a transplant, not being from here, but still where I'm at, trying to make sure I make a mark, I peep that. And I feel like it kind of makes me trying to figure somehow where I fit in all of it. Cause I'm bringing that Atlanta flavor, but I'm lyrical. And so I'm in a melting pot of places right now.
Yeah, man, I remember like I started DJing for Young Buck and G Unit in like 2006, right? Mm-hmm. But I remember those years before, like Buck got his first deal in like 2004. And the South was really gaining a lot of traction in those years, right? Buck almost became like the ambassador general for the South because of the G Unit connection, as to support what you were saying about New York radio with this stronghold on radio. And the only time that we saw it break was when it was being strongholded by the West Coast with the Pop 10 and the Cube and the West Side Connection stuff, but never the South. And I remember David Banner sitting at a boardroom table one time when the music was finally in the South, around that time when Buck was moving, and everyone was upset. And he was like, what y'all so upset about? He said, y'all have had this for so many years. Finally, the South is getting some attention. And then I remember a few years later, 50 told Ebro over at, Hot, that he killed New York radio when he started allowing in these Southern records. Now, everyone got an opinion on it, but there was a dramatic shift that happened to what we call New York sound in that capsule of time because of, like I said, the influence of Atlanta. And now we have a more evolved New York sound in the young MAs and in the Rowdy Rebels and the Bobby Shmurdas and stuff like this. Pop Smoke was doing something major, rest in peace to DMX, you know what I mean? Like just these narratives that we deal with New York. And yeah, we are a little puzzled by what is the sound of New York? Right. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think the sound of New York is right now?
Man, I mean, if you walking through Harlem where I live, you know what I'm saying, cars gonna pass you and they playing drill music, you know what I'm saying? Everything got that drill sound to it. And I feel like that's all over the city. But at the same time, I don't know why I get a feeling like that's a sound that, while I think it's dope and while I appreciate it and while I don't knock it, I feel like there's more beneath the surface that people really want from New York. But at the same time, they're kind of comfortable where they are right now because eyes haven't been put on somebody that they can really highlight and say, this is the golden child. And so I feel like in a way, man, it's a matter of time before people kind of discover what I'm bringing, because being from Atlanta, but also what we haven't even got into in this interview, I went to college in DC, you know what I'm saying? I went to Howard University. And so being there on campus, I'm meeting people from the West Coast. I'm meeting people from, you know what I'm saying, even the islands and the whole Black diaspora is way more broad than just America. So I'm meeting so many different cultures in a meshing pot, and I'm doing music out there. And so I feel like I have a well-roundedness that me being planted in New York can embrace, because New York is a city of diversity. It's people from all different cultures and ethnic groups here. And so I would like to say, man, I think that the more that people get hip to what I'm doing, you know what I'm saying, I believe what I got could be the future of New York for what it is.
Absolutely. And that's how you're supposed to feel about everything that you put out. You know what I mean? No matter what, you know what I mean? You're going to create that energy. I'm from Virginia, you know what I mean? So I'm very well aware of the DMV. And I've always called that DMV area up there basically the New Orleans of the East Coast. It's like a gumbo pot. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of influence coming in DC. I mean, I teach I teach a lot of different topics. So for years, I've been teaching people how the District of Columbia has been its own individual like entity. It's not a part of the United States and all these things, and what that means from an international perspective, and why so many cultures come through that hub, how many different languages are spoken in the DC area. So yeah, you know, you really hit the nail on the head. There is a huge melting pot there for someone who goes to Howard. This is what made Diddy so, you know, influential in those moments and times building out of Howard. You know, I mean, Howard Homecoming was something that we was always trying to get to. You know what I mean? For many of reasons, but definitely for that same point. So I can see your influence. Now, when I tune into the Washing Her Feet video, I mean, not video, the Right Now video. That's the video. Because Washing Her Feet was another single we'll get to. The Right Now video, I immediately fell right back into my time wave of when I was raised. Because I'll be 41 this year, right? So I'm an 80s baby. So I come through Grand Puba and De La Soul and Tribe, and you know what I'm saying, like these moments in time where hip hop was like really like I mean, it was really becoming something like out of this world. It was like a portal into like truth. And they had to like stop that because the people were actually being educated by the music. And we can clearly see the death sentences that are coming off these vibrations now. But when I watched your video, I felt like I was back watching like a Tribe video or something like that. Even like Outkast, you know, stuff like that. So now it's making more sense. Explain to us some of the concepts that are going on in your video right now and why you chose that type of cinematography, because a lot of people will say that it's simple. And that's what I love, because the simplicity has a very powerful message in it. But just explain some of your concepts in that record and what that video was about.
Absolutely, man. So that record right now, which I'm super proud of the video right now, being that it's brand new. But the record was a record that I dropped in 2018. And so one thing that I've been intentional about doing is I feel like I smacked a lot of people with some records that they wasn't really ready for, or for whatever reason, music is saturated nowadays. And sometimes you gotta spoon feed people until they actually really catch on to the vision. So I decided to come back and do a visual to that joint 3 years later, and hooked up with my boy, Alex Ferrick, who's a really talented, creative dude here in New York City. This was actually his first music video ever. He's never done a music video. But he's just a creative dude. Like even when you go in his house, he's got hand-built, handcrafted furniture, and he's just an artsy dude. He thinks different. And so me and him mesh naturally because, as you said, like for us, art is something that's supposed to educate people. It's supposed to allow them to make their own interpretations of it, and not just tell them what to think, but open up a space for how to think. And so, you know, with that, he was like, yo, I would like to do my first music video with you. We came up that Right Now was the perfect song. And basically the topic is me talking about my journey in the music industry. As a dude, I'm 29 years old. I've been in the game 20 years because, like I said, I started out rapping at 8 years old. Right. A lot of people look at me like a young dude, but they don't understand, you know what I'm saying? I've been in the record label offices. I've been in the radio station. I've been engineering, you know, for like, I got a lot of things that people don't necessarily see on the surface. And so in my song Right Now, I'm talking about the transformation and the growth that I've been through as an artist, about how I used to be at one point that artist who would rap about the flashiness, about, yo, I'm the best in this. But now I realize, like, you ain't the best if you got to say you the best. You the best when you can sit back and let other people speak your name for you. And so some of the imagery and things that we chose in that video, because I'm also talking about, you know what I'm saying, a lot of the things that we see on the surface in the news and the media and how it's controlling the narrative and the way that we see the world, but it's always not exactly the way things are really happening. News and media knows that if they can keep something in front of your eyes long enough, you'll stop actually looking for yourself of what's really going on. You'll stop even asking important questions. You'll just start following like a herd of cattle, whatever everybody else is believing. And so I show a flash of pictures of different things through history, but I also talk about how, you know what I'm saying, I have a line in there. I talk about the money that we're stealing from the children. I talk about sneaker culture and how a lot of things that you know, food in the hood and things like that, things that they feed us naturally is trying to keep us, you know what I'm saying, uneducated and unknown to what's going on around us. And so I speak about a lot of different things in a short span of like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. But yeah, it's an educational piece, ultimately rooted in how I've grown as an artist, showing you how this is how I used to be, this is what I'm on now, and then giving you that representation through the lyricism.
Man, and that's hip hop. I mean, I was
Yeah,
literally listening to you explain your reason is what I've always equated with hip hop culture. I was
yeah,
with I was with M1 from Dead Prayers like 2 weeks ago, and just doing a mansion party out here in LA, and when I'm around the OGs, because I DJ for the Outlaws, and Edie and all my real OGs, and we still hold tight to this concept of what hip hop really is. And
yeah,
there's a huge difference between hip hop, rap, and those branches and those trees. And yes, it all flows from the same root. Whether it was blues and rock and roll or whatever, it's flowing, it's a vibration. But it's the
yeah,
intention behind what your reason is for your vibration. And so when I'm watching that video and I'm thinking about the conversations with M1 the other day and stuff, it's just, I remember when It's Bigger Than Hip Hop dropped, and they, you hit it, your Dead Prayers comes on with the, what I'm saying, these record labels, you selling your soul and all this stuff and all this content. And that's like completely just, it doesn't even exist on lamestream anymore. I call it lamestream because
yeah.
it's not mainstream if it's not balanced. It's you can't have water without hydrogen and oxygen. You have to combine both together.
Exactly.
So we can't have a form of media that is void of the positive polarity if it's just
Yeah,
negatively reinforcing these concepts. So an artist like you is pushing through with this image, with this vibration, with this energy. Why are you pushing this energy? Where is this coming from with inside of you as a person? Because it sounds like it was either some parroting or some OGs or something. There's a reason why you possess this type of energy. Where is that coming from as far as what, because this is Cellus Hamilton, obviously. This is not like some industry puppet. This isn't like some corporate cookie cutter. This is you as your own individual. To put that video out, I mean, I love the video. It's very simple. For it to be
yeah,
his first video too, I mean, that's
yeah,
a moment in time. I mean, this is real art here, So
yeah.
what energy coming from inside of you?
Man, it comes from a couple of different things. First main thing I'll say, it comes from my faith. I've been in this journey of me doing music. There's been a lot of people that started this journey with me who no longer here. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of people who started out saying that they were going to do uh, something different in the music industry, and somehow when opportunities came, money came, situations came, people were no longer able to stick to their roots because they wanted the temporary pleasures, they wanted the fame right now, they wanted the guaranteed success right now. Where I was more of a delayed gratification person. I was like, nah, I know ultimately I could sell my soul right now for some sneakers, some chains, you know what I'm saying, some women, and then be out the game in 10 years. Where I'm a person, I'm a legend, I'm a legacy builder. So I'll go the long way, you know what I'm saying? I'll stay true to who I am. I'm gonna stay lyrical, I'm gonna stay pushing the things that people want to ignore. And 20 years later, I'm gonna still be relevant. You know what I'm saying? I may not be as big as mainstream, but I'll be here. I grew up, it's not common, but I grew up with both parents. My parents still to this day, glory to God, they're still married. And so I went through the phases of seeing all my homies who didn't have dads and wanting to be like them, you know what I'm saying? Wanting to be cool and thinking that that was who I wanted to be. But ultimately, I knew how I was supposed to live as a man, and I knew the way that I was raised. And so when I'd go home and look my dad in the eye after doing certain things that other dudes was doing in the streets that he had raised me not to do, you know what I'm saying? I had different consequences. I had a different reality to face. And then ultimately, yeah, my parents raised me. I was raised in a church as well. And then college, I think for that was the first time where being around different people of all different spiritual backgrounds forced me to kind of find my footing in a way where it's like, all right, in the world, this ain't your parents' faith no more. Like, this is really about what you believe, what you've seen in on campus. Met some people who really sharpened me and really forced me to see some of the things that's really going on out here. Learned my knowledge and some different things about history and what's been going on in the world and how faith has been used to manipulate us and to push political agendas and things like that. And ultimately all that landed me in a place where I was just more solid than ever in my faith in Jesus. And so that's why I push this. And people still to this day don't understand. They like, yo, you the one dude, no matter what, that I know has stayed the course. You've stayed solid. You've been yourself. And when everybody else got tired and felt like they had nothing else to say, you were still here. And I'm still here because of that faith, man.
Man, that's powerful. And our story is a kind of mirror, you know, because
Word.
I had two parents at home as well. And
Yeah.
my dad was ex-military, so it was a strict home. When I stepped out of that yard and hit the street, though, it was like a totally different world, and what
Yeah.
rules applied. But I learned at a very early age that no matter what I did in the street, somehow or other my parents always found out, and I didn't like the repercussions of that. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I kind of got boxed out for the first early ages of not being the cool guy or not fitting in, or but wanting to, and wanting parents that didn't care about what time I came home and stuff like that. But that was not the case. And so, and I look back over it and I'm thankful for that discipline. I'm thankful for that iron that is sharpening me, and a lot of people, because you hit on that about, a lot of people, they want to lead, but they're not following anything. And the things that they're following are not high vibrational. They're not in a positive polarity. So it's only going to lead to a more dysfunctional, low vibrational outcome. And then typically, once that keeps reproducing itself enough, it'll lead everyone to always sabotage any opportunity they have towards being great, because the ego comes in and locks them in to this old program that's running. And that's what the system has told them they need to do. So they come into it, like for an artist, wide-eyed, wanting to, love on everybody. And after about 6 months, everything that's coming out of them is about murder, death, drugs, something low vibrational. They've been literally programmed now to be a carbon copy. They have no backbone. Like you said, you could have sold out. You could have sold your soul for some sneakers and some chains. And selling the soul, it's going to mean something different to everyone. But my ultimate piece of selling the soul is not being able to do what the Most High God is telling you to do today, because you have the answer to other masters. Exactly. And I'm with that. So, we did learn from Jay-Z and these artists that you need to own your masters. Nipsey Hussle would say this a lot too. But there's another story behind the scenes as to what's really going on with these contracts and what's really going on behind closed doors that is either going to get you positioned and placed or shelved. And a lot of artists are not understanding that. Have you been in any deals yet, or are you completely independent right now? And I mean, from any perspective, because you seem very intelligent and you don't seem like the type of person who's going to rush into a deal in the first place. Like you say, you could have did this, you could have did that. And no matter what your answers are, definitely still, elaborate more on why you chose these paths and how this is panning out in the long haul, because I heard in you the 20-year plan. And that's something I remember watching with the Roots Band when I was still buying them on cassette tapes in the mid 90s. And that organic buildup of what the Roots Band is. People can say whatever they want to say now about them being, mainstream or commercialized or whatever. I'm not getting into all that. I had 20 organic years with the Roots Band before that happened. And I see the payoff, and I like that payoff. So just explain if you've been in any contracts, any deals, what you're seeing on the business table, why you did or did not, and how that's leading to your ultimate goal.
Yeah, man. So right now I'm 100% independent. 100% independent. Actually run, I wouldn't call it a record label because I'm trying to steer away from anything that resembles the traditional record label model. Right. But I run a business, a music business, in which we have other artists signed to us. And it's a complete different working of what the music industry has been and represented for at least the past 50 years. So I'm very grateful to say that I'm huge on ownership. I'm huge on artists owning their own masters. I'm also huge on artists actually being people who don't just build major careers for themselves, but actually understand that this is a whole empire that they have now control of that can be used to stream them into other things. So what I'm doing with music is just a stepping stone for some of the things that I'm already doing with my own business, with being an author, with films, with doing things here in the prisons in New York City. Like we really doing work, and we're community based with things that we doing in the street. So while everybody else is online trying to get their stuff popping on IG and all this stuff, we actually really out here in the streets making impact, mentoring youth in the middle schools and the high schools. So that's just a little plug on that. As far as my situations in the industry in the past, while I won't get into any specifics, I have been at several labels, not signed, but in meetings and in situations. And for me, much of the similar conversation that it always came back to is just like what you said. They wanted me, but they wanted me to become a version of myself that was no longer true to me. Yeah, we'll work with you, we'll sign you, but you got to leave your faith a little outside of your music, and you got to talk a little more, you know what I'm saying? Make it a little more like this. You can still be, it's still going to be positive. It's still going to have that balance. It's like, at the end of the day, I know the way that God wired me. I know what's in my heart, what's in my soul. And if when I go to bed at night, I'm sitting there wrestling because I know there was something I was supposed to say to the kids or to the people listening or to the single moms or whatever it is, and I'm not saying that because of a check, then I've now become a slave and I'm free. Like I'm not ever walking in that. So it's definitely been one of those situations where, you know, I'm independent for a reason. A lot of people want to ride the wave. Being independent, honestly, is trendy nowadays. A lot of these artists that are saying they're independent, they're not independent. And people are too ignorant to actually know what independence is. I have nobody telling me at all when I can release music. I have nobody telling me where I can tour, where I can't go. I can go wherever I want to go. I can drop whenever I want to drop. I can say whatever I want to say. And I've got the community backing me. So while my journey, like I said, is planned to take longer than these people that will blow up in a day or blow up in a week, I'm gonna be there at the same place they are, and I'm gonna have an army of people with me who really rooted in the streets. So when we talk about real world impact, that's what we building over here. So that's Cellus Hamilton.
Man, that's what's up. And it's clear as day every time you speak that it's not one slice of a pie. It's the whole pie. That the whole pie. What you're doing has to be your life's call. Now, the manifestation of that will shift every day, right? As we get further down the line, you'll see another reason of something else, something new is going to happen. One foot in front of the next. But how can you walk if someone's chopping off your feet? How can you walk if you don't have legs? It's like you're going to be crawling on your belly the whole time because they've taken your foundation. You know, they've taken your ability to actually say what you want to say. And I always use artists like Tech Nine, for example. Like I liked how Tech Nine did it. Yeah. You know, I liked his and it's a name that most of the populace don't even know no more.
And my mom used to rap with Tech Nine, so that's crazy you brought that up.
Yeah, his core populace is not going anywhere, right? Yeah. They love Tech Nine. They know where to find his music. They know where to find his products. They know how to find where he's gonna be at to do a show. What else do you need as an artist? They need to know how to find you, how to get your stuff, and how to come see you. That literally is all it is. So now with this technology, it really becomes a bigger question. Once again, full circle. What is your purpose? What's your intention behind the business? What are you getting in this business for? Because I'm seeing a lot of them and I see what they get for. Because the moment they get the deal, they show you what they got in it for. They holding bags of money, they holding their chains, they went and got their grill done or whatever. And I'm like, hey, I'm not here to knock you, brother. That's your decision, or sister, that's your decision. But the tribe that I'm a part of, that's not what we do it for. You know, we do it for the kingdom of the Most High. And then if these things are supposed to be added unto us, then they're added unto us. But anything that's added unto me is not for me. It's for me to then distribute out to them. Yeah. That it's a give, it's a chain, it's an all flowing, ever giving momentum. But the industry right now is like reverse polarity. It's sucking in. It's like, what can I get from everyone? As opposed to what can I give to everyone? And that's why you'll end up in those deals. So it's clear as day, y'all. If y'all listening to this right now, there should be no question of what Mr. Hamilton's perspective and his point and his focus and his intention is behind why he's doing what he's doing. If you align with that energy, check out the music. And I know I'm speaking of the music, the washing her feet joint.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that, about how that concept came together and what the whole motive was behind that song.
Yeah, man. So Washing Her Feet, that's the album that I released. I released it on my wedding day. Decided to change gears, drop an R&B album. You know what I'm saying? I always been hip hop, but I was getting married and I'm like, yo, I'm in a whole new season of life. Things is different. And I wanted to write about it. My life, my music is honest as it can be. It's always a reflective of the season that I'm in. And so naturally love was on my mind. Love was at the core of everything I was doing, all the way down to the music I was listening to and being inspired by. And so Washing Her Feet, the concept was birthed out of me wanting to challenge culture's definition of love. You know what I'm saying? Right now, we define love as being a feeling and as being something that comes and goes, and we're supposed to chase it whenever it arrives or try to grasp it because it may leave. That's not what love is. Love is a choice that you make every day. And love is something that you are called to do even when you don't feel like it, particularly more when you don't feel like it, because then that's how you know it's love. We see love, and then one of the most strongest examples is a mom that's angry at her children for whatever they did, you know what I'm saying, disrespecting her in public, bringing home bad grades, whatever it is, she's still gonna make sure they eat their meals. You know what I'm saying? She's not gonna let them starve. She don't feel like cooking, but she gonna do it. And so we understand it in that concept, but when it comes to actually the form between two people romantically, we seem to all of a sudden get amnesia about what love is. And so I created this album. I called it Washing Her Feet because I was like, yo, you know, from the biblical standpoint, when Jesus washed his disciples' feet, it was the most dirtiest thing that he could do. You know, in that time, there were no cars, there was no public transportation. And so hospitality, when someone entered your home, you were supposed to at least offer them a bucket of water to wash their own feet. The people who didn't care about people didn't do that. But Jesus instead actually washed their feet himself, getting all that dirty, doo-doo, everything that they stepped in, all the dirt on himself. And that's really what love is getting yourself dirty so that other people can be clean. And so I decided to call the album Washing Her Feet because essentially that's what I'd be doing for my wife, is that I'd be willing to go through whatever, even if it made me dirty, so that she could be clean. And that's what love is. And I wanted to share that story through an R&B album dropped on my wedding day. So,
man, that's incredible, brother. That's very powerful. And I know you don't know this about me, but I lead a movement called the Family of True Light. And I set out to find the truth about Jesus, right? And it began with helping him get his name back. And I was like, at that time, the concept was so many people were using the name for selfish gain that had nothing to do with washing of the feet. They wanted their feet washed. And as I started following that path, I call him Jeshua, right? I've got to like more of a real ancient Israel name or whatever. Like, it is what it is. But I teach about the energy concept of who Jeshua is and this selflessness, because a lot of people like to fight and bicker over religious concepts and names and genomes and geographies and all these bloodlines and all this stuff. And my story is true and your story is false and all these things. And I'm like, hey, hold on. What at the essence was being taught by Jeshua, by the Jesus that they claim? It's selflessness, right? It's complete selflessness. It's the sacrifice of myself for you. That's what your Bible says. That's what everything has said. Do you demonstrate that on a daily basis to the people that are right in your face right now? And it's like, so when I talk to men, especially our brothers, because my lady and I, we have a strong movement right now where especially focused on like helping men have the support groups that women have when it comes to understanding what this level of discipline is really about and why it's not something that should be feared. It should be something that should be like diligently sought after. Because right now in the position that you're in, I would like for you to speak just for a few moments. This doesn't have anything really to do with the music, but how your wife helps, how you guys help each other be able to stay ascending in this energy so Mr. Hamilton can be who he is. You know what I mean? Because if you bring the wrong one into that equation, it's no different than bringing the wrong manager or the wrong label or whatever. And it's like, people want to pick and choose when this principle applies. And it's like, no, this principle applies in every ship that you get in. Relationship, situationship, partnerships. You know what I'm saying? If any ship you get in is going to take you somewhere. So like, help them understand real quick, because man, you're hitting it right on the head right here, bro. Like, how to be successful. It doesn't matter what you choose, what path you choose. How do you be successful? Explain to them a little bit about how that chemistry really helps you be able to do what it is that you're doing right now.
Yeah, man. Man, my boy Don Juan asking all the fire questions, man. I appreciate you, dude. This is fire. Yeah, absolutely, man. So I speak highly about marriage because it is the hardest thing that I've ever done. It's fully sacrificing your selfish desires for the betterment of someone else. You know, in a marriage, and particularly my marriage, we both have things that we deeply desire, and it forces us to come to the table and say, which one of these things interferes with us as a whole? Which one of these things interferes with where we both want to go? And conversations like that are difficult because these are things you're two people from two different backgrounds, but you're forced to come together and, like what we're talking about, serve each other and not focus on what can I get or making this all about me. And so it means that both people are actually leaving from the table losing something. But when you actually realize that's the goal, you actually realize you both gained something instead. You gained each other, because a lot of people, at the expense of gaining something for themselves and not losing, they lose the other person. They'd rather gain everything for themselves and make the person disposable. But when we approach the table, we say, hey, our relationship and us being together and us caring effectively for each other is more important than these things, AKA my rap career, AKA your business, AKA my success or my fans or my followers. We're more important than that. So if any of these decisions right now for me to gain more followers or more success or more music or you to do better in business ultimately interfere with the way that we able to flow, then those things now have become something that is going to jeopardize our oneness. And so it forces us to actually reprioritize relationship and reprioritize the other person, which then allows when I go out into the community and I'm mentoring in the schools or when I'm in the jails, it's not hard now for me to practice loving my neighbor or to love someone else or to give something else to someone on the street because I'm doing this every day in my home. You know what I'm saying? And so that naturally adds to me as an artist, as you can imagine. It adds to the way that I see the world, and it adds from that same pool of inspiration of what I want to give back to the world. So it's definitely sharpening both of us. We're learning how to communicate. You know, men and women are completely different in the way that they view things. One sentence to her can mean a completely different thing to me. And I'm learning how to slow down and ask questions and not jump to conclusions. And so it's a lot in there, man. But ultimately, it's making me a better man. And I'm realizing that, marriage is a mystery. It really represents God's, how he'll never leave us, you know what I'm saying? And ultimately, when we live that out, it helps other people believe that as well. The world doesn't believe that God will never leave them because everybody that they see leaves. But when you actually start seeing people that stay, it's easier to believe that God won't leave you as well. So
yeah, and to anyone listening to this, like what he's giving you guys is a testimony of what his life is like. You have to extract that energy though and then apply it to your own life. And so what you're witnessing right now is what it takes to be successful. It doesn't matter what the topic is. There's an underlining tone that he's speaking to y'all right now, as far as what it's going to take to do this every single day. There's a lot of people that have instant gratification. They have sporadic thoughts and moments, but they lack what's necessary to see something all the way through. And since we've talked about Bible scriptures a couple times today, there is a Bible scripture that says, don't be the person that starts building a building, but doesn't count the cost of what it's going to take to finish the building, lest you be someone that they come by and be like, man, look at this great thing someone started and didn't finish. And we know a lot of artists like, and a lot of studios right now, they've got vaults of music, and that's as far as it went. It didn't go anywhere. And so they spent a lot of money on engineers and mixing and stuff like that, and it didn't go anywhere because they didn't have a full plan laid out as to what they were doing. To anyone out there listening to this interview right now, you know, I have really like a strange suspicion that Mr. Hamilton himself is going to keep ascending in this business. Don't think he just popped up out of nowhere, because he literally is telling you right now about some things that have been occurring since the age of 8 and 9 years old to get to this point right now, and is laying out for you some other factors involved in human relationships and what's necessary when it comes to being successful on how you have to pick the right energy to be around. So rather you guys are trying to marry someone in like on a marriage certificate, or if you're not realizing that you're marrying that record label, it's the exact same thing. And you should never get into a relationship with anyone who will not give you the same respect back and will not be able to be there for you to communicate and figure out what's best for the team, not just what's best for them. And so that's cool, man. I really appreciate you, brother. Like, really never really know where these interviews are going to go, but I'm not the type to just be like, yo, so I saw you got a single. Man, talk to us about that. Who produced that? You know, it's like, yeah, man, no, like people want to know who you are. And you know what I'm saying? It's like,
I love that about this interview, dude. Yeah, I love that about this.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you're giving us some topics. Before we keep going, give them your Instagram, or you know how they can keep in touch with you. Instagram, SoundCloud, whatever you got. Go ahead and drop a few links for them.
Yeah, so y'all can follow me at Cellus Hamilton. That's CELLUS Hamilton. That's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and then also cellushamilton.com. I keep everything updated on there as well.
Yeah, and it looked like you had braids at one time.
Yeah, I mean, and I go back and forth between the fro and the braids, so that's me.
That's what's up. Yeah, I'll just be noticing, like, you know, that how when it comes to like your look, like this, they don't have nothing to do with Bible or nothing like that. Like, how are you picking your looks right now? Like, where's that energy coming from?
Yo, so right now it's crazy because I'm in a transition phase. You know what I'm saying? So I can't tell everybody what I'm working towards, but in working on my next album and the conceptually been doing a lot of research. You know what I'm saying? I did seminary last year, which was a whole new journey for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning about Africa and the Middle East. And so I'm learning a lot about a lot of different things that ultimately not only flow into the music, but flow into the way that I want to represent myself. You know what I'm saying? So I just keep it like that. You know what I'm saying? I got some things that are going to be emerging within the next few weeks as I get closer to rolling out the next project, where my look is going to drastically shift.
Nice.
And it all makes sense later. So I do try to coincide everything. I'm not just a person who tries to stick to a sonic pattern. Like when I go project mode, like I did with Washing Her Feet, you know what I'm saying? Everything for that season was love related, all the way down to the way that I branded myself, even till we meet. That whole process, I was wearing nothing but suits with roses in the pocket. You know what I'm saying? So we going somewhere, and I just need people to trust it and you know, stay with me.
Yeah, and the branding is crucial. I mean, we're not going to blow past marketing here, y'all. I mean, there's 4 P's in it for a reason. Branding is so crucial. You really need to know what your brand is. A lot of people get confused by these words. When you mean brand, you know, what do you mean publish it? You know, these type of words. And I'm like, man, you just need to know who you are and just stay true to it throughout your whole thing. You just need to, once again, be intentional about what energy and visuals and vibrations you're giving off and how it fits into the whole conglomerate. We watched this with Nipsey, you know, with Hermes, and we watched him like start embracing the genealogy of what he was learning about his godship. And started to manifest itself in a different physical matter. He also stopped smoking weed for a while. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm a 420 activist. You know what I mean? I enjoy it. But there's a certain place and time for everything. And if you're noticing that your connectivity is being impeded by something, now may be a time to shed that And this is what what Mr. Hamilton has said earlier, you know what I mean, which was him and his wife came together and left some things behind. That's not a bad thing. A snake will shed its skin, or when you prune a rose bush or something, it's to get a bigger rose, bigger productivity, to really get into the full maximum manifestation of what was called for. Because yes, the rose bush looks great, but it would look better if we would get rid of some of the things that was still draining some nutrients from it that didn't serve a greater purpose. And you don't know what that's going to look like. So yeah, we plan to be along this ride to see how your evolution, even just from a physical manifestation, occurs. Because I had braids in heavy. I just took them out like a few months ago, and it really does shift.
Yeah,
like the energy, just by changing your hair, just by changing anything, it really does shift everything that's going on. I know you have the mixtape is coming soon. The platform that is supposed to be hosted on, I think it's called, is it Dotton? Or what is the platform? Was it Dotton?
We're working. You might be speaking about the joint mixtape that I'm doing with my boy Dayton. Which
Dayton, okay, that's his name. Okay, yo, I got a little confused when I was reading the press report if the platform itself was called Dayton or if that was the artist's name. So you got a mixtape coming out with Dayton. Talk to us about that one.
Yeah, so right now what we're doing, after a tough year of COVID-19 and having a lot of things shut down, which have deeply affected the artist and the artist community, we weren't able to tour, we weren't able to do shows. Things are opening up, at least they are. I know in New York City, we got big plans for the summer. And so as big as the city as this was and as crazy as the shutdown is, it looks like the rest of the country is on that trajectory as well. So with things about to open up for the summer, we like, man, that's going to be some big opportunities for us to come out and do some music. And we do a lot of things with the community here in New York City, Dayton being from Newark, right across the bridge. And so we work with some organizations that really, cater to youth and sports here. And we wanted to put together a mixtape that, as camps and summer camps and basketball camps were getting ready to open back up, we could kind of give them a soundscape, because a lot of people don't realize in urban communities how closely sports and music are related. You know what I'm saying? When you're getting ready for a game, everybody got their headphones on. Everybody got something to get them hyped before they go play. And what better way for an artist to not only market themselves, but also make sure that they actually have an impact that's really reaching the next generation than getting in them ears at them camps, you know what I'm saying? And getting in the ear at them, the summer leagues. And so we putting together a mixtape specifically for that purpose. And it's going to be us, but we've also been opening up submissions for other artists to be a part of it as well. We want to find out who's out there, who's also, trying to do something positive, who's got their hands and feet rooted in the community, and who really might be next up. And so we want to give some people some shots, and then ultimately get them a chance to work with me and Dayton.
Lit. So how can they submit for the project?
So the email, real simple, that you would submit to is music@soandtell.co, not .com, .co. Music@soandtell.co. You can submit links or MP3 files, and you have until May 7th to submit. So your best music, we're looking for upbeat and positive music. And we're gonna go through, me and Dayton. We got a team of A&Rs as well that's very qualified, that are going through the music with us. So it's a lot of people. So you don't got to feel like your music is gonna be missed or unheard. We got a lot of different people qualified, including myself and Dayton, going through these, listening to everything up to May 7th that gets sent to us. And we're gonna put the best of the best on, and we're gonna work with the best people. So we're trying to give some opportunities.
Man, that's what's up. I mean, this has been incredible. Everything that you're doing as a human being is about helping others. And and another piece of that is your music. Yeah. And I'm noticing that is the way that most artists become very successful, but it's not just about being an artist, it's about being, successful, just entrepreneur. Multiple streams of income. But the income is not always measured by fake promissory notes. This income, energetic income that we can also then we take and deposit back out to others, and it's a give and a take. And it's the human chain that keeps us all connected. We all are supposed to be giving and taking with one another, but we're just supposed to be keeping it in a positive energy. This low vibrational attack that I'm calling the enemy for example, is it's one of their biggest weapons is music because of the vibe. Because like Cellus just said, it's you watch these guys, you see KD and LeBron and all them, they headphones on and they out there shooting and all. And we know when we in the gym, it's the same thing. We know when you with your wife, you got your love, you know, you will put a little R&B on. We trying to, music is a vibe. Yeah. But if it's not connected to the right power source, then what is the vibration? You know, and it's like, what is that vibration that's coming off? And we're dealing with a massive populace right now that doesn't even care to put the security system up to monitor what's coming and going in and out of their portals. And I'm really thankful for artists like you who are very diligent about what their mission is for using the music. Yeah. It's no different than the gun control stuff. It's not guns that are the issue. It's the intention behind the individual that's about to use the gun. Same thing with music. Same thing with songs like WAP. I don't have a problem with the song like WAP. If it's me and my woman and we in here chilling and she want to dance with me, she's a grown adult. She's in her right mind. She has a mindset. I have an issue with this when it's a 7-year-old that's memorized every lyric and half of the choreography from the video. Yeah, that's a problem to me because of the vibration and what the intention is being used for in that situation. So I'm telling you, it's like a breath of fresh air every time I meet artists like you. This is another reason why everyone has to stay connected to Hip Hop 24 here, because this channel right now is bringing you guys out the box artists. But when we say out the box, we're literally just talking about out of that lamestream box. You guys know there's more out there than what you're hearing on these clear channel controlled radio stations. You are not stupid. You are smart enough to realize that there's a reason why there is such thing as a program director. And they are controlling the programs and they are repeating the same records from a business standpoint, not because it's what you need. What you have to do is you have to stay connected to these channels to find these true artists. So to all the actual real enthusiasts out there that are really organically searching for artists, you have found one today. And Mr. Cellus Hamilton, stay familiar with that name. Out of Atlanta, in New York, we're going to see where he's going next. And he's not just thinking about himself. He's opening a platform and a door for you with the Homeboy Dayton to get on some of these mixtapes. They start getting in some of these channels. My advice to everyone listening to this, though, is don't use that as a leech. Don't parasitically leech on that. Help that fit into what your plan is. Yeah. Figure out what your plan is and then figure out how this helps your plan. Don't be a parasite. Don't just jump into someone's life seeing what they can do for you. Jump in trying to be a teammate. See what you bring to the table first. Get familiar with what you bring to the table and get to know who you are. So when you get interviewed by Don Juan on Hip Hop 24, you can answer the questions the same way Cellus is answering them, organically and true, not reading from a script or something he was told to do. You understand what I'm saying? I really appreciate you, brother. Anything else that you want to leave with the people as far as like what you got going, how they can stay connected? You can definitely drop again the IGs, the emails again, if they want to submit, the SoundCloud, whatever you got going on, just go ahead and leave them with, you know what I'm saying, with your last piece of word for the evening.
Yeah. Well, first off, man, I'm super grateful for you, Don Juan. Like, this was an amazing interview. You know what I'm saying? Sad to say, these interviews like this and brothers doing like what you're doing are also hard to come by. So this is an amazing breath of fresh air. I'm super grateful that you have a platform and grateful that you're using it this way. For as far anything that I'll say, man, I just want to encourage people to remember that it's often slower to not conform to what the mainstream culture is doing. It's a slower way to success. And honestly, because it's different than mainstream, there's no guarantee that it will even lead to success, but it always is rewarding. It's always worth it to keep your peace. And so I know we got some artists and some creatives out there listening that know they've got something in their heart that they want to do. And they've probably been discouraged because they've been at it for so long and they just see everybody else passing them up and, you know, getting opportunities that they know are right for them. But I just want to let you know, man, everything happens in God's timing. You keep running your race, stop looking to the right and to the left, and you'll be where you're supposed to be. And just stay connected to God, man. So CellusHamilton.com, Cellus Hamilton, Cellus Hamilton on all social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And make sure y'all submit by May 7th. I'm listening to everything that's in that email by May 7th. That's music@soandtell.co.
Man, that's what it is. Music@soandtell.co. You got till May 7th if you want to be a part of the project with Cellus Hamilton and the homeboy Dayton Cellus, brother. Thank you once again. It's your homie DJ Don Juan, Hip Hop 24, bringing you yet again another organic and authentic artist that you should know. Man, Cellus, thank you so much, brother. It's been wonderful. Check in with y'all later.